you so much for taking time to participate and view an MNI University class. My name is Katie. I'll be hosting the class today, or the room anyways, and I'm with MNI. I've been with MNI for 12 years doing training and business development and tech support and lots of different things that I do here. MNI University is new. This is we've been doing this for 3 years now. We used to only do it during Manufacturing Month as an ode to Manufacturing Month, but now we do it all year long. So what I do is I try to find people to teach classes that we can offer for free to our customers, and all these classes are taught by industry professionals and should be very useful for you and relevant. I'd like to introduce you today to my friend Kirsten Austin. She's with DCSC, and she's going to be running us through this is for sure going to be a really fun session, guys. So Kirsten, take it away.
Thanks, Katie. I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me here again in my 3rd year. Just to kind of talk about what we're going to discuss today. As you know, I'm in love with distribution and manufacturing. And what we're going to talk about in 2024 is best practices in your warehouse. We're going to talk about the 3 large no-nos that can cost you profits straight out of the gate. We're going to talk about warehouse employees and mapping their journey with you. We're going to talk about your facility. Are you making the best use out of it? And then I will add some additional tips for distribution success. I will tell you a little bit about myself, and I know that Katie, that you said no introductions or, just things in the chat box throughout, so the recording goes through. But if you do want to chat who you are and who you work with and anything about yourself, Katie will be glad to introduce you to the group, and also know that we're going to open it up at the end with Q&A as well. I'm Kirsten Austin. I'm the president of DCSC. We are a software development company. We also implement ERP solutions, WMS, which is warehouse management systems, ERP, enterprise resource planning, multi-carrier shipments, shipping solutions. We also developed our own solution called DC Warehouse Automation. We are from St. Louis, Missouri, smack dab in the middle of the country. I've been doing this for 30 years. As much as I love St. Louis, I'm a nature freak, so I always spend a lot of time out west in Colorado, Utah. Love kayaking, fishing, getting on my 4x4, you name it. I love adventure. But I'm really glad that you all are here today. We've made introductions before this, but if anybody wants to put in the chat box, if they just joined us, who they are, we welcome you to do that. All right, so want to kind of talk about just a few things. My sessions are always fun. I'm happy if you have questions throughout in the chat box. Again, we'll open it up at the end. Be interactive. Please be kind. There's too much going on in the world today. I'm all about the peace and love and happiness. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. After today's session, I will be sending anybody that attended this a copy of this PowerPoint. Hopefully, we pray to God the recording works. And so we'll have a copy of that recording. I'm also going to send you links to blogs because I can't cover 30 years of experience, but I've got a lot of really good blogs on our website. And again, we're always open to help anybody, even if I can't help your company directly. I'm very connected. I've been in this industry for so long. So if you're looking for something or you have questions, we're very personable. Just give us a shout. We're here to help anybody find solutions because we're all in it together. So in my experience, there's really 3 major issues that cause distributors problems. And feel free to shout them out in the chat box, but can anybody guess what those might be?
Nigel says mechanical failure.
Good one. Potentially.
Transportation issues. I was thinking
Oh,
supply chain. Human error.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Those are good. You get the
I
prize
wonder.
today.
Mhm.
You get the prize today. So the biggest one sounds like a duh, but is poor inventory control. And we don't want to talk about the big elephant in the room that happened for what, 2, 3 years. But I want to talk about it because my customers all of a sudden, yeah, were waiting on product. Product was sitting in ports. I'll leave my political opinions to myself because a lot of things could have changed. A lot of things we could have been a little bit more prepared for. But poor inventory control is a deal killer. Lack of inventory visibility is a huge deal killer. And working in silos and employee issues. And we're never going to fix all employee issues because employers are human beings. But when we talk about working in silos, I cannot believe to this day how many distributors that are past the 20 million or the $30 million mark have one software for accounting. They have another software for shipping. They have a whole bunch of Excel spreadsheets. They have another thing for timekeeping. They have another thing for CRM issues. They have another completely disintegrated software for planning. So what happens is you have all of these silos, and how do you make that all merge together? That is huge, and it sounds very simple, but it's a deal killer, especially now. And technology, yes, there is an expense to it, but there's also an expense to not implementing technology as your company grows. So I'm going to talk about poor inventory control, and I'm all about the inventory. I live, breathe inventory, receiving, picking, packing, shipping, moving stock, replenishing stock, all of that. And when people implement our solution, of course, we make it all better for them. But not everybody can afford a warehouse management system. So there are some different ways that we can look at to fix this. But I'll kind of give you a few little tips here. The very first cause, and every time I say the word dirty data, I think of that cheesy movie, Dirty Dancing. But dirty data is a deal killer. And think about this really hard. Have you ever not received a shipment because someone put your address in wrong? Have you ever looked at your system and you have duplicate part numbers, etc.? Dirty data is the primary cause for people to lose low-hanging fruit, and this is so simple to look at and fix. The other one is improper procedures. You could have the best system in the world, but if you don't have operation and warehouse managers that actually not only motivate your personnel, help implement solutions, manage their day-to-day, and make sure that those procedures are adhered to, you got nothing. So we'll kind of talk a little bit about ways we can fix that. We talked about not using an integrated system. You got an Excel spreadsheet over here. You've got Mike's custom program over here. If Mike is on vacation, everybody is, well, I'm trying to figure out a better word. They're without Mike for a couple of days. Not good. Manual processes. That is just, to this day, I cannot believe that people don't even invest in a simple barcoding system. So no real-time data technology. So these are causes to lose profits. So we're going to talk about ways to fix this, and nothing is magic. You don't just wave a magic wand and everything is all better. But let's talk about the dirty data. The first thing is that every ERP system, even every accounting system and every inventory system, unless there's one that's homegrown out there that I don't know about, there are security protocols where you can decide what users in your company have the ability to edit, change, or add a part, a vendor, a customer, or shipping information. So this is just a very simple little thing, but you would be surprised how people do not lock this down. So very, very important to lock down your security in your system. The other thing is to purge old records. Unless you offer a 10-year warranty on the products that you sell, or you have a huge jet engine or something like that, 15 years ago doesn't matter anymore. And we work with so many customers and they're afraid, oh my God, we don't want to get rid of the old data. It's 10 years old. Half those customers are out of business. You don't even sell those parts anymore. We can archive it so you can look at it if you need to ever look at it, if you, for any reason, need to do that. But let's start looking at fresh, especially when you're looking at today's inventory, today's planning, etc. Purge those old records. I am not a CPA by any means, but if you're going back past 7 years, you might want to take a look at that. So make it a policy to look at how far back you want to get. And make sure that you're really a stickler about data entry. So if you're not using the barcode, which helps you to avoid making data mistakes, if you have customer service agents that are adding in new customers, make it a point, take your time, please. Don't rush through that. And then also do not allow, and I love software developers. I would not have a company today if I didn't have the developers that developed our solution, DC Warehouse Automation. I love IT folks. I love IS folks. We all need those guys and ladies very bad. But please, please, please do not allow bad data imports or back end, I call it cowboy coding. Even in our own experience, when we're working with a customer and everything is working beautifully, and all of a sudden something's goofy, the first thing we ask is, did anything change? Did anybody do anything on the back end? So think about it. Don't allow that cowboy coding, because that's your data that you're dealing with. Improper procedures. So what I think is really challenging, because I am a boss, and it is really hard because you do not want to be a micromanager, but there are proper procedures that are proven to help you run your company. So the same thing in a distribution environment. Distributors are having a really hard time finding, maintaining warehouse workers, keeping those guys and gals in their warehouse. But the bottom line is, when you onboard those folks, you really need to train them on your procedures. You need to enforce that. You need to make sure that everyone cares about the procedures, and I'll talk about ways that you can do that. And one of the key things that I see, so I do consulting work. I go to, let's see, last year I went to, I think it was 6 or 7 different warehouses. I didn't go a lot during COVID time, but before that I went out. I have visited so many warehouses, it's not even funny. One of the things that we prioritize, even when we help people implement our solution, is prioritizing the importance of the receiver. I can guarantee you, from 30 years of experience, your materials control and inventory control goes straight out the gate if you don't check your products in as they're coming in, or at minimum, have a staging area. If you can't use technology, you put a PC right there when you're receiving product. That is the biggest, and I know it sounds so it sounds so simple, but it's so super important that you prioritize the importance of the receiver and the receiving process. If you're not using the barcode system like ours, make sure that you have a station set up. Truck comes in and we need to be really, God bless our truckers. I want to say that right now. They are the backbone to our supply chain. Help those guys unload if you can. If you can't for any type of reason and they're unloading, make sure someone's there to receive that product. And if you even have to change a shift to make sure that you have people available for receiving, because I've gotten that before, even with my own customers. I'm like, why are you not checking in this stuff as it's hitting your dock? And they're like, well, it's coming in at, okay, split shift then, or, start communicating. If you know it's coming in, set aside some personnel, be ready for it. Also set tolerances, and I don't mean with your people. I mean, you always have to set tolerances with people, but set tolerances with your vendors. We have all, you need to be friendly. You need to love your vendors more than ever now, especially when we know how important it is to communicate very, very efficiently with your vendors. But in most ERP systems, there's a place where you can set a tolerance. And when we talk about tolerance, I always think about it like when I was growing up, my mom, like you could only push her so far before she would just go ballistic. And she was like the best mom in the world, but she'd be like, Kirsten, Eric, I do not tolerate this. Same thing with your vendor, but a little bit nicer. What tolerance are is that you have a place to, when you're setting up your vendor and you're setting up a receipt, that you want to be alarmed or triggered if your receiver accepts something and something is wrong. So we'll talk about this. The goods are damaged. It's so much easier to take care of that, right then, right there, notify a supervisor. In our system, we can even do vendor returns on the fly, but damaged goods, I look at it right now, code that information in, especially because your salespeople are waiting for this inventory, your purchasing people are wondering if it's been received, etc. Set a tolerance. Same thing if you are short shipped. Hey, we were supposed to get 100. We only have 20. What happened to the other 80? At least, there's got to be a trigger, a checks and balances system. And this also is a good way to establish a rapport with your vendors, and they know that you're looking at them. Also, make sure your goods are labeled correctly. And if they aren't, do before you put them away. That is the easiest spot to label your goods. Many of us have come to expect that your goods will come in barcoded, but that doesn't always happen. Label them, check them in. As soon as you can put them away, put them in the proper space, but really, really look at your receiving process. So very, very important. So then the other thing we'll talk about, and I do believe Nigel, because he is so smart, and it's 5 o'clock there where he's at, so he's got a head start on all of us. But logistics and shipping and transportation errors, we know are very, very expensive. Shipping errors, I can never say that word, errors. Shipping errors are very, very, very costly. And when you think about it, so we have distributors that we've got one distributor that literally during Black Friday time, they ship out 20,000 shipments per day. Some of those may be one line item, some may be 20 or more. Some of them may be huge orders that they're filling. When they implemented our system, they're like, but look at how fast we're shipping everything out. We just slap on the label, get it out. My first question was, how many returns do you have? Yeah, and we've got a lot of returns. How much does it cost you to process a return? Have you ever really thought about it? And by the way, I've got a really good blog on that, and I have a worksheet that you can actually work up and look at based on your cost of goods, your overhead, what it takes to process an order, the shipping cost, etc., what returns actually cost you. So there's a lot of reasons shipping errors occur. So they include picking the wrong product. And we've all been there before when we're so excited, we get a box, in the mail, we're like, yeah. And we open it up and we're like, bummer deal, man, wrong product. And you might have keyed in the product perfectly when you ordered it online, or you might have told the customer service agent the product, but products may look alike. Things happen along the way. And again, if someone doesn't have a barcoding system that they can scan that box that's already have the barcode on and go, whoops-a-daisy, goof proof. If someone's just eyeballing this stuff, it can happen. So picking the wrong product. It could be shipping out the wrong quantity. It can also mean shipping your products to the wrong address. Now, most software systems and shipping solutions do have a shipping address validation piece in it. But if you don't have that, you really need to take a look, double check that shipping address, look at it in detail, because shipping errors cost you so much more than you think. First of all, loss of future orders. Hey, if you keep shipping someone the wrong product, eventually they're going to give up. Chargebacks. So all those fun big box guys, and we won't name them, the ones with the smiley faces, you've seen them before. Your large, retailers out there, they give you chargebacks. So if you're starting to play with the big boys and you are either mislabeling product or you made a mistake, guess what? It's not just going to be your cost. It's also going to be a chargeback. So I will kind of just be quiet about that. Some companies are easier to work with than others, but they look for that. And so if the label's wrong, the data's wrong, if the product's wrong, you're going to get nailed on that. And I have customers that said since they have implemented a solution like ours, they have completely eliminated chargebacks from those guys, which is huge. And it's the truth. Expensive returns processing. Think about this. You have to ship the product out. You had your people do all the work to get it packaged, put into a box. You ship the wrong product out. They either have to call, go online, say this is the wrong product. They need to return the product. Who's going to pay for the return? Most likely you're going to pay for the return. It's expected nowadays. So you're going to pay for shipping not once, not twice, but 3 times. Think about it. Ship out the first time, whoops-a-daisy, ship it back, whoops-a-daisy, ship it out again. So it's more than you think. Expensive return processing. You need a human being to bring it in, look, see if it's damaged. Can this go back to the general stock? Blah, blah, blah. And shipping expenses. So let's fix it. Check those shipments. Just be really cognizant. If you don't have a system in place, what I recommend for my smaller distributors is that you have a blesser that could be a team lead that's at the shipping station that double checks. And again, I hate paperwork, but You know, you have to walk before you can move into a system like ours, but check the sales order, check the products, validate that address, and ensure it's packed correctly. Does this mean it's going to slow you down just a little bit before you get that shipment out? You bet your bottom dollar it will. But does this mean that it's going to save you money in the long run? Absolutely. So double check every shipment. Automation and streamlining. So think about this. Every time you manually key information into the software, so let's say I take it on my piece of paper and I'm like, okay, did this, blah, 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 4 of these, 8 of these. Then I set this down and someone goes, oh, Kirsten, hey, can you give me a hand with this? Okay, yeah, okay, right. Come back over to my piece of paper, walk over to the computer, log into the computer, do this. That's letting time elapse. It's also giving you room for error because these fingers, they're not perfect. So there's a high amount of risk associated into manual processes. So, you know, what you really want to do is at least work towards a real-time system. And there's a lot of them out there. I've seen some better ones out there for smaller companies because we're not a fit for everyone, but I see that some developers have you know, published software that at least can help you along the way. And when I talk about uh I'll talk about automation and I'll talk about streamlining things just to not scare anybody. So when people talk about automation, they envision robots, which, you know, those are not cheap guys, or they envision packaging machines, etc. So full-blown automation means a system is gathering data and it is sending that data either to a machine or a robot, and there's very little human intervention. Well, that stuff ain't cheap at all. So we will talk about something that people get confused with automation, but it's really called data collection. Data collection, if you go to the grocery store, y'all have seen it before. You put your stuff on the conveyor. The guy takes a scanner, he scans it, already puts it in there. They bag it up, scan, 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 scan. That is data collection and barcoding. So even by introducing, and if you have to do it one little snippet at a time, maybe start at receiving, then maybe start at picking and packing and shipping. But introducing barcode and data collection is really, really going to be healthy for your company. Not only is it going to provide you real-time information because you're not waiting for Joe Schmo to write stuff down and then an hour later put it in your system when people are dying for a product. Your salespeople are like, I don't know if we have it in stock or not, you know. So think about that. So that segues into the real-time visibility. So, you know, when you have multiple or non-integrated systems or tons of manual processes, that's not good. If you're slow to adopting new technologies, again, I get it as a business owner. You know, I am still a frugal Jane. I still cut coupons when I go to the grocery store. Even in my own environment here, there's got to be a reason to buy a new piece of equipment, buy a new piece of software, you know, add another person, anything like that. So I'm not just saying, you know, there's technology, there's functionality, and there's a need, but I am just absolutely surprised and shocked how there are so many distributors out there that will do everything but invest in newer technology. The other thing is no cycle counting. No, 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 no. You have to cycle count. Cycle counting is something that we preach. You know, it just keeps everything organized and tidy. And I'll talk about that in a second. And also, and this is my biggest pet peeve, I used to be a complete slob growing up. I have ADHD. I wouldn't make my bed. I would have toys everywhere, books everywhere. I would come home from school and I'd be so excited, just throw my book bag down. It drove my mom crazy. May she rest in peace. She was German. She'd always be like, you know what to do. Put your shoes here, put your book bag here, go clean your room, your books go on the shelves, etc., etc. I don't know what happened to me, but ever since I got involved in distribution and manufacturing, I'm like a neat freak and less is more to me. I don't like a lot of junk. I can't stand it when people have a messy warehouse. I do have a really good blog that I'll send out to everybody on some tips to organize your warehouse. If you've got ugly inventory, we'll kind of talk about that. It's inventory that's not moving and it's taking up that precious space. That's goofy. If you've got pallets just sitting in the middle of your aisles and you got boxes everywhere, not only is it danger, but it's affecting visibility and it's just silly. So organize your warehouse. And I am so blessed to have so many good customers, but they have all sorts of tricks for building in warehouse cleaning and organizing it. So let's fix it. Keep a clean warehouse, invest in technology, implement in a cycle count program. And most of you understand what cycle count does, but if you don't, there's something called a full physical, which is an annual count, which means once a year, you got to tell everybody, hey, Joe, Nancy, I know you guys are going to go camping this weekend. I know you're going to do this, but everybody's got to come into the warehouse because we're doing a full-blown physical. Sometimes you cannot avoid this. Let's say you're buying another company or you're merging with another company or your bank for financing reason needs a full physical. Sometimes you have to do it. But we highly recommend a cycle count program. What that means is you can rank your items. So your more expensive items that are a higher cost of goods to you, you count those more often. You can do by location. So you can say, hey, and all these bins over there, we're going to count those on Monday. These bins over here, we're going to count those on Tuesday. You can do other things such as, let's say you have fast moving items. All of a sudden an item that you barely sold, you cannot keep it off on, you can't keep it on your shelves. So you're going to rank those a little bit higher according to their moving. So implement cycle counting. And then again, organize your warehouse. Think of it like your kitchen. You want to put your glasses right here where your sink is. You want to put your spices all by your stove. So while you're cooking, if you need a little bit of Cajun seasoning, you need a little bit of this, it's all of that. You want to put things away in your pantry right away and organize that. Oh, you should see my pantry. It's just absolutely amazing what I've done in that. Do that to your warehouse. Take the time to do that and keep it that way. Warehouse workers are hard to find. They are hard to keep and they are hard to grow with. And I think if anything that happened during this whole COVID situation is people all of a sudden really realized how important human beings were. And I really mean that. I mean your warehouse workers. I mean your truckers. I mean your plant workers. I mean, all those people that we just think, oh, I just go in this big box thing and I order this and then it just comes. Just that. No, it's human beings that do all of that. So it's hard to find those ladies and gentlemen. There's also a competition for warehouse workers now, and this is really big. This has happened in the last year that I've talked to several of my customers and I've given them some tips. And then think about it. The job can be redundant or boring, so think about these things as we talk about how we can find these people. So the first thing, and we talk about this on our social media, USA Manufacturing Hour. And this is huge. But okay, I'll just be nice about it. You have to step in today's day and age. Um, in order to attract talent, you have to leverage social media, especially the younger folks. Think about it. Like, I mean, sometimes it bothers me because on a nice day, you'll see two kids like looking at their phone and even texting to each other, and it's just silly. But when you really think of it, these younger folks, they're constantly on social media. So they're looking at their phone, they're looking at their computer system, they're looking at their iPods, et cetera. So if you've got this antiquated looking website and you're not on X and you're not on whatever, wherever you think those people are going to be, even if it's on Facebook or LinkedIn, how are they going to find you or even know about you? Think outside the box. This is really critical. So internship programs, think about this really hard. If you make it really exciting for someone to come in and work for your warehouse, and look, they're not going to be working for your warehouse forever unless they like it, you know? So this is a good foot in the door to learn about business, supply chain, etc. So start talking to your high schools, start talking to your trade schools, etc. Also, no offense to anyone. We see this again and again. And, I don't want to offend any women because, I love women and men equally. I'm not a big, huge, pro woman, no matter what, I'm pro whoever gets the job done and who's a good team member for you. But that being said, you would be surprised at how many women don't want to be behind a desk and they would love a warehouse job. So you need to think about things like, how would we make a more woman-friendly environment? And then here's another key is you need to pay better than your local competitors. And I know this sounds really scary. So, if I have any CFOs or controllers out there, listen to me now, forgive me. But, I talk to my own customers and they're like, hey, the Smiley Box warehouse just moved in down the street and they offer this and this and that. And how are we going to get people to work for us? And you have to pay better. So you need to have someone research, what are they paying? What are their benefits? And you need to pay better, even if it's $2 more per hour, even if it's a few more benefits. You have to do it. You're going to have to do it. And in that period, it's going to be the standard moving forward. So we'll talk about keeping talent. So, we've all had, well, I've been in business for 30 years and, I've had employees come and go, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for not good reasons. And I've learned a lot throughout the years, but, what I have noticed with my distributors that are really, really good at attracting talent is, they do offer paid training, and there is a difference between orientation and onboarding. And nobody gets that. Orientation is more like, hey, here's a warehouse, here's your locker, this is where we eat our lunch. Here's where you're going to be working today. Yeah, best of luck. Onboarding means, hi, John, hi, Joe. I do make a recommendation to onboard more than one employee at a time because it's Murphy's Law. It may not be the environment that everybody likes. So one of my really good distributors, they're in Texas. When they hire someone, they always hire 2, 3 people because it's Murphy's Law. Not everybody's going to be a fit, but they onboard them together. And basically, what you really want to do is you want to leverage your own good team members. Several of my customers that I love their programs that they have in place, they have team leads. So they have their, really good workers take a zone, or they may just be in the receiving area, or they may be, if they do kitting, in the kitting area. Those team leads on board, train, work with the new team members. and they have a specialized program where they're working together for a couple of weeks. If you're hiring someone that's going to drive a forklift, OMG. There are so many accidents out there. They are so unnecessary. Forklifts, it's not child's play. Just because someone has forklift experience doesn't mean they know your specific equipment. Implement forklift training. There's all sorts of avenues and people that offer that. But make sure that you just don't set someone wild on that, because that's silly. It's dangerous. You also want to have an upgrade path rewarding accomplishments. So, think about it. I like it when someone says, "Good job, Kirsten, atta girl, hey, fist bump," So if I'm just in the dark and no one's giving me feedback or telling me how I'm doing or anything like that, I'm kind of like Alice in Wonderland, like, what am I doing? Definitely give your team members feedback. And what I recommend is offering incentives based on both individual and team performances. So if you're doing individual and only individual, it's good because you want a little bit of level of competition on, hey, I picked this many products per day. Like, for instance, the software we have, when someone logs into their system, it tracks every single thing that they do. So every pick, every pack, every ship, every move stock, all of that. And you can look at a group, you can look at what activities took place during the day, and you can look at an individual to say, hey, why is John so slow and Mary is so fast? Is this an opportunity for training? What do we need to do? But what you do want to do is offer incentives based on individual and team performances. So, I've got a beautiful customer. They are in Georgia, and a lot of the men and women there are ex-military. So, I mean, they got their stuff down. That's all I can tell you. But they are so cool. What they do is they incorporate fun, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having fun in work as long as it's safe. But they'll say, hey, if we can get all these orders out and with minimal shipping mistakes, and we got this project going here, and we want to do this, we're going to have a huge picnic. And what does that cost? It doesn't cost that much. You can grill the food yourself. You can do what you want, but they have the most beautiful, it's just really cool, the camaraderie that they do. And they get people united. So, look at incentives, and, have a clear upgrade. Make sure that when someone comes and works for you and they're really good at what they do, if they want to work in the warehouse, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I will be honest with you. My brother went through calculus in high school, and he's a near genius. And then he became a social worker, and then he went very high up in the ranks with a grocery store. And now he is working in the warehouse again. And he's like, Kirsten, I hope that you still love me and you're proud of me. Of course I am. And he's like, I just want to put stuff away and receive stuff. I don't want any more hassles. I'm getting older, and at least it gives me exercise, whatever. So, just think about it, but make sure that you show your team members that, hey, you're with us for 6 months and you're, kicking booty and taking names, then you can become a team lead. And you know what? We're growing. We might be opening up another warehouse. So, we might make you an assistant warehouse manager. And you know what? We might move you up to be a warehouse manager. So, show people that if they're doing good, their steps going up. And also, Murphy's Law, cross-train every solid team member. And we all know about Mr. Murphy, that, it's either you're slammed or you're slow, or, crazy stuff. We won't talk about all the crazy stuff that's happening in the world, barges going into bridges, crazy stuff all happening. Cross-train every employee, because Murphy's Law will say someone can't make it to work and you got some product that you need to receive because you've got other customers waiting on that product to pay you for their whole entire shipment. So also cross-training is better because people they don't want to just go, and they're always just doing the same thing every day. Think about it this way. Cross-training employee empowers them. It's more interesting for them because they have different things that they can do. And then also your warehouse workers, those are your troopers. They're not the politicians sitting in the office. They're the folks that are on the ground floor and they know what is going on, especially your good ones. I mean, you're always going to have people that complain, and that aren't healthy for your environment. But ask your great team members if they can recommend anything. Sometimes it is as simple as, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could split shifts because we're a little bit more busy in this, time? Simple little things like that. Or, hey, you know what? This computer keeps breaking down and then, we can't do anything. And then we got to wait till Mike from IT comes over. But would it be cool if we had a computer that works like that? I mean, what is that? Like 500, $600? So talk to your troopers, walk around the warehouse, ask them for feedback, be out there, talk to people, treat people like humans. Also huge, good people that like their environment and like where they work and are quality people. Most of the time, guess what? They have quality friends and they have quality brothers and cousins. So if you're hiring, ask your good team members, hey, do you know somebody that, we need to add like 2, 3 more team members here? Do you know of anybody good? And then also be honest about what you can and cannot afford in benefits, but get creative. So, everybody got nailed and I'm not even gonna hold back. Everybody except for a few industries got nailed during COVID. And so guess what? Maybe not the best time to ask for a raise. Maybe not the best time to ask for 4 weeks off when you're already shorthanded, etc. But as a leader, always be honest about what you can and cannot afford in benefits and be creative. People like things like, hey, if all you can afford is thank you so very, very much. You haven't had a day off in a long time, give them a day off. I've got another friend who is a warehouse worker. She's going back to school, but she works at a warehouse and she's been there for 6 months and they still don't give her 2 days off together. And I told her, you need to talk to your manager. You've been there 6 months. You're there every single day. You're early. You move around the entire time. And I mean, come on, how are we even go camping together? You can't even get like what, Tuesday and a Wednesday together, a Thursday and a Friday, a Saturday and a Sunday. So, I mean, what would that take for someone to scheduling and go, you know what, let's put 2 days off for this person, maybe someone that's just starting and start them on the other hours and move people around, move their shifts around. Talk to people about, are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? Or what are you? Because you would not be surprised. I will be the first person to tell you I am not a morning person at all. Every once in a while I have to be, because a lot of the people that I do business with, I have to set up meetings at 8 in the morning and sometimes earlier than that. And, I'll do it. Now, if I'm going camping and my alarm rings at 6 a.m., I pop up like, Jiffy Pop. But, honestly, it doesn't mean I'm a lazy person, because I can run circles around people when I get here, at 8:30 or 9, than anybody that's coming in at 6. So you would be surprised if you just talk to people and say, do you like my brother? My brother likes nights. He goes, I love the night shift. I love it. I get home in the morning. I get to take the dog for a walk. I got my mornings off, if I go out, I do something right there, then yeah, I take my nap in the afternoon, blah, blah, blah. So, look at things such as shifts, time off, just get creative. It's not always about the dollar bill. Be compassionate and honest. So one of the things is, when you are transparent in your goals, nobody likes a place where like they don't know what we always talk about, like management. Management wants us to do this, or the executives are coming in and they need us to do this. No, silly, no. You tell those good leaders in your warehouse, hey, we're thinking about buying another warehouse. We're thinking about adding a new brand, adding a new product line. And you get those leaders involved and you will see there's something in it for everybody. If you're growing, if you're profitable, that's not just for you, that's for everybody. So always be transparent. When you spot a leader, let them lead. Do not, I cannot, there is a difference between management and micromanagement. I won't even talk bad about the past, but I used to have a co-founder and there was many really good things about him, but there was things that just killed people's human spirit, and it was the micromanagement. People are not robots. Let people, if they are a leader, listen to them. Don't tightly manage every single little thing they do, and let them go. And then let them come to you if they need assistance, but don't micromanage people. They don't like it. Always build fun into work. Make sure you have a safe place for everyone. I've got a really good blog on warehouse safety. Be honest on what you can do. And then this may sound super controversial. And Nigel's been on several of my sessions, so he knows this. I am a woman. I am emotional. I think some emotions, just as long as you're not a basket case, are good. Emotions such as kindness or happiness or compassion, those are good to introduce in the workplace. But negative folks and in poor performing, there's sometimes you can coach people and there's sometimes you can't. If you've got one rotten apple, it's just going to spoil the whole bunch, and it's just not healthy for your company. And I hate firing people. I always give people a chance. I go through personal improvement plans. I give them every benefit of the doubt, and I'll even know people personally. Are they going through a hard time? What's, causing this? I'll ask for feedback. But if someone's going to take my company down, they're not going to work here anymore. And I see so many warehouses that are afraid to let people go because we can't hire people. Yeah, you can hire people. There's all sorts of resources to find people. You just have to fight harder for them now. But get rid of the negative people. You don't want them. They kill everybody's human spirit, and they're not healthy for business.